Previously on TVSins.
I'd been on the job about 3 months till then. 2 previous cases were open and shut.
So mostly I just sat around out there in the shed looking at the ground. I didn't have no floor out there.
For over a century, I have lived in secret.
Vampiration! At this point, we're all just waiting on the CW to release a show that is 100% narration, called The Narration Chronicles. It's obviously their manifest destiny. Also, a century? Just a century? There are actual humans that have lived over a century. What a total noob-pyre.
I am a vampire. And this is my story.
I believe you mean diary. This is your diary. Do you not even know the name of the show you're on?
An hour's drive to hear that crap. You know, it wasn't even a band, a guy with a guitar.
Douchebag hipster is a dick to solo artists.
He sounded like James Blunt.
Oh, what's wrong with that?
No, we already have a James Blunt. One's all we need.
Blunt force trauma.
Darren!
Dead body falls on a car to create a jump scare, even though there is no reason the perpetrator would have a way to have thrown it there without being seen cliché. At first I thought this show was called The Vampire Diaries, and was about a group of vampires that owned a dairy farm, so that they could both feed off the livestock as well as make an honest living. And now I'm mad because I'd rather be watching that show instead.
But I had no choice. I have to know her.
I see we are warming up the old pronoun game nice and early for maximum irrelevance. Sweet.
Dear Diary.
And now we are on to diaration, which is different from diarrheation for obvious reasons. Though, considering the CW track record, I'm guessing we will get to that eventually.
I will smile, and it will be believable. My smile will say, I'm fine.
If this is how maudlin you are in your journal entries, then you deserve all the pink-eyed, defanged vampires you can manage. Ignoring the conveniently relevant news on the TV about the couple we saw get eaten in the cold open, let's instead focus on the fact that they have decided to include a weather forecast in the small space below this tragic tale. Not only that, it simply says, sunny with cloudy periods. No temperature, no time frame, just the basic information that the sun will exist today and so will clouds. Hey, I'm meteorologist Brady Beck, and today you can expect some temperatures outside, as well as possible levels of moisture that may or may not stay in the air or land on the ground. F***ing meteorologists.
Grams is telling me I'm psychic. Our ancestors were from Salem, which isn't all that I know.
Your Graham's name wouldn't happen to be exposition, would it? Also, we're less than 4 minutes into the first episode. Can we see how the whole vampire portion of the show goes before we start bringing witches and psychics into the mix?
I can't be freaked out by cars for the rest of my life.
Well, sure, but hitting something and screeching to a halt in the middle of the road might freak anyone out, even those of us that aren't conspicuously hinting at a tragic backstory.
I predict this year is going to be kick-ass.
Wrong! Ha! Kick-Ass actually came out in April of 2010, the year after this is set. So much for your psychic abilities, unless of course you meant the school year, in which case Kick-Ass would have come out before the school year is out. Holy shit, she is psychic! What is it with TV shows having students hanging out outside the school before classes start? In what universe do this many kids even arrive early enough to hang out at all? Let alone throw some sort of daily block party in the school courtyard. For that matter, how is it even this light outside before the beginning of the school day?
She looks so hot. Can I still say tranny miss?
No, that's over.
You also can't get away with hiding hurtful phrases and self-aware jokes just because you think that it will somehow excuse it. Man, I really like Vicky. She is a truly underrated character in the Vampire Diaries universe. Good thing she's not going anywhere.
Hey, Pete Wentz called. He wants his nail polish back.
Pete Wentz, huh? Old school TRL of you. Carson Daly fan?
Not that Steve McQueen would be excellent at TVSins.
All I see is back. It's a hot back.
That's Baxist.
Please look again. I'm sure everything you need is there.
Well, you're right. So it is.
If Stefan had this trick up his sleeve, then why not use it to get employment, or somebody to give him money at a bank, or anything other than going to high school? And yes, I know he yada yadas this later, but that doesn't make it any less sinful. Also, he just used vampire parlor tricks to make the office personnel see something different. He didn't actually change his records, so the next time anyone has to look anything up on him, it's still gonna be bogus. How many times and to how many people will he have to pull this shit on so that he can stay in high school?
Pardon me. Is this the men's room?
Convenient and embarrassing wrong restroom meet cute is convenient. Shortening the word you and using a symbol for at, I get. But hot E? Bonnie would be expounding the exact same effort to spell out hottie. Ah, Scarecrow!
Back there was this bird, and it was all very Hitchcock for a second.
Well, since it was just the one crow, quoting nevermore and all, and doing its best That's So Raven impersonation, I'm gonna have to say it was a bit more Edgar Allan Poe there for a second.
Please tell me you're not hooking up with my sister.
I'm not hooking up with your sister.
So this is one of the few literal cases of going against the bros before hoes ruling.
Stefan Salvatore. He lives with his uncle up at the old Salvatore boarding house. He hasn't lived here since he was a kid.
Good thing one of the high school stereotypes we are being introduced to is the mean girl gossiper, so this discount Buffy the Vampire Slayer show can exposition our brains out whenever it feels like it.
I wanted to apologize for my disappearing act earlier. I know it was strange.
And I did this by showing up at your house that you never gave me the address for, so as to not come off any creepier than I already have.
Well, I wouldn't want anyone to read mine.
You keep a journal.
It's called a diary. We have been through this already. It's right in the freaking title. Also, there's been a lot more diaries and a lot less vampires than I would like so far. Are vampires just disorganized slobs? These diaries of Vam Frank here are all completely out of order and all over the place. In fact, there are 2 separate 2005 diaries, which is fine, except that wouldn't you at least mark one A and one B so you know which one came first? This is not a picture of someone who looks like Elena. This is a picture of Elena. Yeah, genetics, blah, 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 but unless she's a twin generations removed, this lithograph is bullshit. Also, since when do 150-some-year-old lithographs have that level of detail after aging for over a century?
Would you like to take this opportunity to overcome your embedded jock stereotype?
It's okay, Mr. Tanner. I'm cool with it.
And unfortunately, so is this show.
You know what? Never mind. You're here.
I'm here.
Look, if I wanted to see an extremely soap opera-y Twilight, but done on a TV production budget with a cast selected primarily for their looks, I would have just watched Twilight.
We did meet in a graveyard.
Right. Well, no, technically we met in the men's room.
No, technically you met outside the men's room. Don't try to take my job, Nina, or I might just have to bring up flatliners. I find it odd that no one even has a reaction when fog just magically appears in this town, or they simply don't know how fog works, and based on what little we've seen of actual teaching in the schools, this would not be surprising. I get that Stefan is supposed to be set up as a red herring for the vampire killings, but anyone who has ever watched a TV show will know there is zero chance he's the vampire, so ridiculous scenes of him coming out of the woods when he should have already been back at the party are, well, ridiculous.
I just want to let you know that I still believe in us, and I'm not giving up on that.
Dear good gravy God in mashed potato heaven, is this seriously just The Blood and the Beautiful? The fangs of our lives? Beverly Hills 90210 positive? Vampire soap operas suck.
Caroline, you and me, it's not going to happen.
Well, considering you're over 100 years old and these are high school girls, nothing should be happening with any of them.
Jeremy!
What?
Jeremy!
Yes?
Jeremy, where the hell are you going?
Somewhere that isn't yet another show that combines teenagers and metaphysical beings continuing to pretend it's an interesting mystery, when really it's just an excuse to target and manipulate a young demographic's hormones for financial gain. Hopefully.
I don't want to hear it. Vicky?
Good thing we spent the whole B story this episode on the younger drug-dealing brother who wanted to protect Vicky from the one rapey guy. That seems to have paid off nicely now that she's dead. Or a vampire, or whatever.
Damon.
Hello, brother.
And hello to yet another show that ridiculously has characters call out their relationship while greeting each other solely for the audience's benefit.
Crow's a bit much, don't you think?
Wait till you see what I can do with the fog.
Oh, I've seen that plenty, Damon. And like the rest of Mystic Falls, I'm pretty much over it.
But whatever I saw, or I think I saw, I have this feeling that it's just the beginning.
Well,
Tell me something. When's the last time you had something stronger than a squirrel?
sheesh. Boone is coming in hot with this over-the-top vampire pressure. I'm not saying he wouldn't push and tease his brother like this. I'm just saying he should have grown a mustache so he could twirl it while he does.
Where's your ring? The sun's coming up in a couple hours and poof, ashes to ashes.
I see the show has decided to go with the magic ring that allows vampires to hang out in the day selection on the convenience menu. Very nice choice. Should pair well with the chicken. I realize giving him a low number of about drinking in front of the cops is a character thing, but shouldn't the cops actually do something? The cops in this town appear to be about as dependable as they are in most horror movies, which is zilch. Along with tons of narration and a cast selected primarily by entering the keyword ability, this is a CW show that seems to follow the strict doctrine of parents never being around.
Someone without the past.
Without the pain. Someone alive.
In their final routine of the evening, the CW is going for the rare synchronized narration. A risky move, but let's see what the judges have to say. 30 Sins, a new single sin narration record. All that narrating is finally paid off.
I know it's late, but I needed to know that you were okay.
Which I could have asked you at the party, but I ran away because I'm weird and creepy.
And what do you tell them?
That I'll be fine.
Do you ever mean it?
Ask me tomorrow.
This was actual dialogue that humans wrote into a script and made other humans say out loud. Also, skip.
This is why we don't show ourselves in sunlight. Look at the size of this thing. It's like Campbell's Cappuccino.
Please look again. I'm sure everything you need is there.
We don't need to see his identification. These aren't the droids we're looking for.
I'll be right back!
Oops, I did it again.
Last spring, my parents' car drove off of a bridge into the lake, and I was in the back seat and I survived, but they didn't.
Now you know the rest of the story.
Brother's got a hug.